Welcome back from that short commercial break, and I believe that you have stretched enough for us to proceed with our enticing conversation. And just to maybe take you back to what we have discussed that one of the first things you need to know is that on Friday, the 21st of February, we're going to have the Kampala Buzzline launch, which is a step towards conservation. And of course, I already mentioned earlier that this Buzzline looks at promoting awareness of the ecological role of pollinators. But at the same time, we want to understand what can we do to encourage urban and community-based pollinators. Now, there is a growing concern in urban areas lately that there is a decline of pollinators, and also we have seen a lot of things to do with habitat loss, and this is of course due to things like urbanization, things to do with deforestation. Another concern when it comes to pesticides and pollution, which is also very much destroying our biodiversity. We understand that the use of chemical pesticides and air pollution is becoming a negative impact when it comes to our health, but also when it comes to the population of bees and butterflies. Climate change, of course, is also not something that we can neglect. It is inevitable. But when you look at the rising temperatures, the unpredictable weather patterns, all this is leading to a very much growing concern when it comes to the pollination cycles, when it comes to the food insecurity, but also most importantly the ecosystem imbalance. And that is why this afternoon, under the Green Economy Program, we are delighted to have a very, very powerful guest with us, which is Gary Tiza, to give us insights on what does it mean, to make our environment much greener. What does it mean to have our cities much healthier, but also protect our environment? So we're going to continue to interact with him and understand what it means to, conserve our environment. But at this particular moment, I'm going to get to him on what it means to engage communities. He has an experience in community engagement and volunteerism. So we want to understand from him, what does it mean, to engage local communities in such conversations. Once again, you're most welcome. Thank you so much for being with us, Gary. And I believe you're enjoying the conversation.
Lovely. This is fantastic.
Personally, I want to thank you for the insights that you're giving us. They are very, very important. To our viewers who are watching, I'm sure they are learning a lot. And one of the things I want us to talk about at this particular point is, how do we engage local communities? In your experience, how do we much more engage? Because it's not like we have not engaged them. Yes, we have, but there's still a gap.
Yes.
Okay? So we want to understand, how do we continuously engage local communities in urban areas in things to do with urban biodiversity projects, but at the same time, likening it to the Hackney program.
Yes, I think it's a really important point.
Yeah.
One of the advantages that we have in the Hackney Buzzline, and I think the same applies to the Kampala Buzzline, is that we are already engaged in the local community. Yeah. So I have been working, and I'm part of my local community for many years, and the same is true here in Kampala as well. And it's only when you're really part of that community that people trust you and listen to you, and you can achieve much more. So you really need to listen very carefully to what it is that people want. Because it's no good you coming in and saying, we don't work like that as humans. You don't go and say, this is what I want you to do. And you go, no, I'm not going to do that. It's you have to understand what other people want to do,
absolutely,
and find the commonality between you.
Yeah. So just give us an example of maybe the Hackney Buzzline. How did you approach the local communities? What kind of approach, what kind of model did you use to make sure that you, one, change their mindset, to make sure that they understand
So we engage with the other community groups within who are already managing community gardens, and very importantly, are engaging the schools that are on the Buzzline. And one of the great things about linking up the Hackney Buzzline with the Kampala Buzzline is that we have been able to twin two schools. It's called the one in Hackney is called King's School in Kawempe, and the children from the two schools have been making each other. So recently in Hackney, brought in the local artist and sat down with the children, and they've been making butterfly masks.
Oh yes, I actually saw a neat video of something like that.
Yes.
When I was interacting with Huntington, he made sure that we saw something like that, and that's beautiful. That's the challenge that we are having, that children at that age understand that they can play when it comes to biodiversity and climate change conversation. They are the future. Yet
they are the future.
They are the future. So they need, at that very level, they need, such kind of conversations and things like that. And I think, to me, what you're in that kind of area, it's amazing. Is it okay if you also maybe just shed light on kind of the achievements, one of the key achievements of the Hackney Buzzline in its first year, for example?
Yes. It's a 3-year program. Okay. We're funded for 3 years. 5 projects a year. Okay. I mentioned one of the projects was the memory garden. Garden. Yeah. I mentioned how we're creating flower corridors along active travel routes where people cycle, walk along. So on one of the parks, we're working with the council, going back to the partnership thing. We sown a wildflower meadow, a 500-meter wildflower meadow alongside the cycle path. Wow. This is a very good example of a partnership because the council themselves machines, so they had rotavators and they dug up children from the local primary school and from the local nursery. Yeah. Sow the seed, old-fashioned style. 2 lines, and the first line scattered the seeds like that, and then the children behind came and stamped it in. Yeah. But we were all talking about partnerships, so we also worked with a national charity called Butterfly Conservation. In the UK, and they gave us advice on how best to make the meadow and what meadow mix to choose, and also provided the seeds for us as well.
So they also provided research, or they only provide advisory services?
No, they provided seed for that. For that. We've created another meadow with them on another park. Yeah. Because one of the problems in parks is that they've been heavily fertilised, so it's quite difficult for wildflowers to grow there. Yeah. So they gave us a digger, so we could dig out to the subsoil and then seed on that. So that's better for wildflowers. They came and they did sessions with the children at the.
That's amazing. That's really great. That's really great. So one of the things that I've also noticed from your profile is that you're well versed with volunteerism. Yeah. Okay, which is very important, especially for the young people that could be watching us right now. And I just want to pick your mind on this. What role do you think volunteers play in the success of initiatives like this?
Yeah, volunteers are vital to what we do, because this is a community effort after all. Of course. It's not just us coming in and doing things, so we need to engage volunteers. We have a website and we have social media. So anyone who's interested in volunteering, we direct them to the website, and then they can sign up to volunteer. And then we have a WhatsApp group, so they can join the WhatsApp group, and every week we tell people this is where we're going to be. Yeah. And we have different kinds of volunteers who get involved for different reasons, different motivations. Yeah. Some are young people who are interested in the environment, looking to get into work there.
Just like me.
Yeah, and they need to build up their portfolio. So they come in, and they help, and they get the skills and the learning from that.
Yeah.
We have older people like me.
Yeah.
Some of whom are retired and they want to do. They got time and they want to do good and get involved in.
Yeah.
We have sometimes mums in particular come with their young children and they want to get involved.
Yeah.
And we also have corporate as well. So.
Okay.
Who send a group of volunteers and they give us money for doing that as well. So that's great.
In Uganda, you find that many young people don't appreciate volunteering because preferably or maybe a reward or preferably a pay, something like that. I think where they lose it. That's where they lose it. Volunteering is very important in terms of social contributions and in the social development. And I think that's very important. Maybe as one other thing I wanted to also learn from you today is you have visited a number of cities around the world and you have gone along to inspire them in terms of ecological plans, of urban conservation. So I want to understand, how can cities inspire long-term community? How do we have cities inspire people to participate in ecological projects? How do we do that in cities?
That's a very big question. In London, we have an initiative, which is it's called the London National Park City.
Okay.
And that engages volunteering and community groups across greener nature.
Okay.
And the insight that led to that was the realization that nature is not just in the national parks, and in fact cities, because they have complex habitats and environments, can actually have more diversity, certainly in England, than you can get in a national park, because of all the gardens, the parks, and this, that, and the other. Hackney Buzzline is just one element of what is going on in London and other parts, and Rafiki all over the world, and particularly young people concerned about the environment, concerned about climate change, concerned about nature loss, and are just going out and doing it. And you can just your own
and your home as well.
And your home, I mean, we have a situation where almost like there's hardly a green space now, and there's not some voluntary group that's trying to improve it, And I suppose there's a cultural change there that's needed, but city can support. They can give funding towards it, they can publicise it, they can raise awareness around it.
And have some campaigns around it. And now that even young people love social media, so it could even be a social media campaign, for example, which would, of course, increase awareness. Okay, and Gary, as we come to the close of our very interview or our very good show conversation, what advice would you give to cities? For example, Kampala City, for whoever, because I'm sure government and our authorities are going to be watching such a program. But what advice would cities projects as well, similar recovery projects? What advice would you give them?
Well, my advice to everyone in Kampala is to support the Kampala Buzzline. You have a homegrown initiative here, rooted by a group of very inspiring, very dedicated young people who are doing incredible things. And by supporting that, you're going to achieve much greater impact.
Absolutely.
Than authorities. By kind of parachuting into an area, work with the community.
Yes, absolutely. And then maybe how can individuals contribute to green, healthier urban environment? Do this to make sure that we create healthier and greener environments.
Well, simple answer is to plant flowers. Please plant flowers, but also just to let, if you have a garden or a space or a green, just let some of it for nature.
Yeah.
Let it grow. You might think it's wild and it's got no value, but actually just make a bit of space for nature.
Okay. All right. So your last message as we head for the launch of the Kampala Buzzline, what message would you share with the people of Kampala?
Oh, I think I've just said it. Support the Kampala
Buzzline, yes. And I think
Kampala, and learn and take inspiration, and do it for yourself.
Absolutely. So for those that are watching us, thank you so much for being a part of the Green Economy Program. We believe that we have shared quite a number of areas when it comes to urban conservation. I've been one expert to has blended, so many scalable solutions. One that has given us a number of examples of how programs can be a pioneering example of how cities can integrate nature recovery into urban planning. And I think to me that's very, very important. So I'm very, very honored. Thank you so much for joining us in this program. Please, for those that are watching us, be very much aware that we shall be showing you whatever is happening at the Buzzline launch, and please, if you're in Kampala, feel free to join us and we shall be there to welcome you. As we continue to talk about the launch event, we'll be about the global relevance of these Buzzline programs, and also we shall demonstrate to you on how we can localize ecological initiatives, inspire international and national. Watching me, thank you. My name is Oyesje Clinton Liberty. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you so much for watching us. Next time, take care of yourself.